Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Well, that was... How do you fully process what we just watched in Game 3 of Edmonton, Florida, here in the Stanley Cup Final? Welcome back to Game Over Edmonton. It's your boy, Avry Lewis-McDougall, in the host chair tonight as the Oilers fall 6-1 in Game 3. Avry Lewis-McDougall, a game that really was... I'm trying to fully process what I watched in this game. It was one that, from the jump, just wasn't on Edmonton's side. Just wasn't there. Edmonton, early on, gave up an early goal, less than 2 minutes in, which has been the theme for much of this series. Someone scores less than 5 minutes in. We saw it in Game 1 and Game 2, and again in Game 3. Exactly that happens. Chair tonight, and now this is a team. Sorry, I had the background audio playing for a second here. And now, looking at this team right now, you know what? At least you're not down 3-1. It's 2-1. There's a lot to recover in this game, but it got away from Edmonton so quickly in this game. Florida was up early and didn't look back, and boy, did things get chippy, and we'll get there. We'll get to that part very soon. We'll get to that soon. Don't you worry. But first off, we gotta thank our friends. We gotta talk to our friends over at Hyperdrive Hockey. We miss them. They'll come back very soon. We're gonna bring them back here on Game Over soon enough because hey, we missed that hockey show with some Quebecois flair. Shift into Hyperdrive and get ready to have some fun with your new source for all the biggest stories in hockey. Bring in a unique style of broadcasting and commentary with that special Quebecois flavor. Hyperdrive Hockey combines top-tier hockey analysis, big stories, pop culture, and a fun atmosphere that will drive debate, make you think, and more. Join Max Van Hoot, Daphne Malibouf, and Kevin Larme every Monday and Thursday for your fill of the hockey world. Watch on YouTube on the Game Over Network channel or subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon. And make sure you, yes you, head to our website, thegameovernetwork.com for so much more. Alright, so where do we begin really? Where do we begin? First off, Florida up 2-0 early. Brad Marchand, because of course, Brad Marchand got Florida on the board first. 55 seconds into this one, Carter Verhaeghe makes it 2-0 on the power play. Corey Perry tries to bring him back into things, make it a 2-1 game, and then a couple minutes later, Sam Reinhart restores the Florida 2-goal lead. Sam Bennett makes it 4-1. Aaron Ekblad makes it 5-1, and Evan Rodriguez makes it a 6-1 game. Florida, 3-for-11 on the power play. That's right, 3-for-11 on the power play. Edmonton, 1-for-6 on the power play. 85 PIMs for Edmonton. 55 penalty minutes for Florida. This was not a pretty game in any way, shape, or form. It was chippy, it was nasty, and it was a game that saw Stuart Skinner pulled. Calvin Pickard came in later in the third period in relief as Florida takes a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 goes down on Thursday night, still in Sunrise, Florida. And of course, if you have any comments, questions for Game Over Edmonton, please let me know in the chat. Hit me up on the comments on Twitter or Blue Sky. Love to get your thoughts on the game, your complaints, concerns, whatever you want to get to, we will get to on Game Over Edmonton. And this is one in which early on, again, we saw early penalties taken by Vander Kane. Not the best game, but the officiating tonight was weird in the sense of the standard changed from period to period. What are we calling here? Are we going lenient? Are we being tight? That's the one thing that, and you ask any official, and you ask any player, coach, we want a standard that's the same way throughout every game, every period. And that was one thing I was surprised at this. Well, not surprised, but I thought it was just a shame that we didn't. Again, the same standard wasn't there from period to period when it came to officiating. So that's the thing that just irritated me in this game. And once again, Edmonton just didn't look ready coming out of the gate here. Edmonton, yes, got a lot of shots on Sergei Bobrovsky and net. They got shots on net, but aside from that, they couldn't beat Bob on most high danger chances aside from Corey Perry's one goal. They just didn't look composed when it came to crossing through the neutral zone, when it came to passes, when it came to setting up the cycle. Florida was stopping almost everything was through their way. Florida got Edmonton to play their game, and as the game went on, things got chippy. You could see the composure dying down more and more and more and more for this game. It's a thing that this team is going to have to work on and adjust going into Game 4. That composure has to be there going into Game 4. And a few of the names that we saw playing tonight, of course, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins did play tonight. He was a game-time decision. This was not a good game for guys like John Klingberg, someone who I think needs to sit for a game. I would bring in Troy Stecher. This was not Klingberg's game. This was not at all a good Klingberg game. Of course, wasn't a great game for guys like McDavid. Even though I like the fire at Kasperi Kapanen, I like the fire late out of Kapanen, wasn't his best game. A lot of -2s, a lot of -1s, just a lot of zeros on the board. A lot of zeros from guys who were in a white jersey. That was not what you wanted to see. That wasn't. And for a place in which Edmonton has already had a hard time finding ways to win, winning in Florida for Edmonton has been a challenge for a minute. They have not done that consistently. So at least at this first match, at least it was game 3. Not a game 5, not a game 6. You have another chance to even this series up at 2 and go back to Edmonton with that split in Florida. Go back for game 5 with the series 2-2. But right now, there are some things to adjust. I know he took the pregame skate. I do feel that Jeff Skinner is someone that absolutely should be in the lineup for Game 4. When Jeff Skinner has been given the chance to play in this postseason, he's giving you production, he's gone to net, and he's a point-per-game player. Literally, 2 playoff games played and 2 points for Jeff Skinner. He is someone who you need in this forward core going into Game 4 to give a kick to Edmonton's offense. I truly believe that is someone Chris Knobloch has to deploy in Game 4. And you see on social media, I'm not alone. Many feel the exact same way, that Jeff Skinner is someone you gotta play come Game 4. He's someone who deserves that chance to shake something up, because right now, what you're doing right now, if you're Chris Knobloch and Mark Stewart and Paul Coffey, it isn't working. It didn't work. And you don't have time to hum and ah about it. You got to find a solution pretty quickly. You got a couple of days to figure out what you got to do to get ready for Game 4 and what you can do to fix the lineup and fix what happened, because tonight was a mess. Tonight was just... Oh, and also here on Game Over, we'll also have post-game commentary from players, coaches, get their thoughts, see what went wrong, what went right, what they can improve upon, because, hey, you don't only want to hear me. You want to hear the answers from the coach, from the players, from that team's leadership core. You got questions, they got answers. Hopefully. And hopefully we do as well, too, here on the Game Over Network. And when I look at Edmonton right now, we all know this team has the ability to be better. We all know that the lines 1, 2, 3, 4 can be better. it sustained this team's offense in series against Vegas and against Dallas. But the depth right now drying up is not good. The depth guys having zeros across the board has to change, because look at Florida. Florida can get their offense from everywhere consistently. Edmonton, the depth drying up is not a good thing. The depth guys struggling in deep waters is a very tough look compared to last year, where those guys almost saved the season in the Cup final. Right now, the Oilers' depth has vanished. It's nowhere to be found. You gotta put a notice out to find some offense from beyond the top 6 right now, which is not good. It's not a good thing to see. So, again, the one bit of positive was just seeing the fire. You see Edmonton getting frustrated with guys like Sam Bennett, getting frustrated with Aaron Ekblad, AJ Greer. And that third period turned into just mayhem. It turned into the comedy hour. It turned into just, hey, take your pound of flesh. And you saw that bench. That bench for both teams was getting pretty depleted, as officials were just trying to get through getting out game misconducts, 5-minute majors, because they knew that was going to blow up even more if they didn't start tossing guys late in that third period. But holy, what a situation. What a situation. But you know what's more fun than that? Patreon. Looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada? If you got a few spare bucks kicking around, you can head to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thegameovernetwork. There you'll find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There's extra access, looks behind the scenes, Discord benefits, merchandise discounts, and opportunities to give us feedback. And hey, you can join us for special shows live where you can talk to us and help us improve your experience. And hey, you know we get it. Sometimes times are tough. You can't spare a few bucks? Don't worry. We got a free tier available so you can still have fun with us. And hey, you want to really help us out? Make sure to click like and subscribe on YouTube. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app and share our work on your platform or social media of choice. So that's patreon.com/thegameovernetwork for some tantalizing goodies, y'all. Yes. All right. Oh, sorry, gang. Oh. Uh-oh, I think our... Oh, boy, that's not good. Our 2-shot, for some reason, is a little bit messed up, so we're going to try and sort that out here. Oh. There we go. That's better. Technology. Sometimes technology acts a little bit goofy, but you know what? It is what it is. Now we see, we got some great comments here coming in for Game Over, which we'll get to in overtime. Love the fact we're getting people fired up here on Game Over Edmonton. But I do want to get to, absolutely, we may as well get to it now, the third period, in which, oh boy, tensions were going to boil over. The tensions were going to boil over eventually. It wasn't going to end quietly. Look at the box score. The box score from this game is just a never-ending list of penalties and infractions, which what's funny at the same time, though, it's like, wow. All composure was lost in this game. All of it. Every single bit of it. As we head down, and I'm trying to get to it myself here because it's not easy to get down to. Here we go. So, third period. As we see it popped off. We saw a penalty, Brad Marchand. And then more penalties going down. Penalty, Trent Frederick. Penalty, AJ Greer. Penalty, Sam Bennett. Penalty, Darnell Nurse. Penalty, Jonah Gadjevich. Penalty, Greer. 10-minute misconduct. Greer misconduct. Bennett misconduct. Gadjevich misconduct. Frederick misconduct. Ekholm misconduct. It just went on and on and on and on. And it's a thing where Florida's a nasty team. We know that for a minute. Florida can play big, bad, and nasty, and I felt like Edmonton just had enough. Edmonton had enough of that and gave in a little bit to what Florida's game was like. We saw that incident along the boards where AJ Greer started punching on Matisse Ekholm. Ekholm swung back. What I didn't like was the punches from behind from AJ Greer on Matisse Ekholm. The punches from behind, the rabbit punches, I thought were so dirty and so dangerous. That, to me, should have warranted a look from the league. In the same vein, I could see the league saying about Trent Frederick, yeah, you can't snap your stick over Sam Bennett's liver like that. So I'm expecting some fines to come to both Edmonton and Florida. I'm expecting definitely fines. Suspensions, no. But I could see a few fines here and there to a few guys who were tossed, like a Greer, like maybe even a Bennett or maybe even a Frederick. But suspensions, no. The league does not want these guys missing games. But that was just a nasty, nasty final sequence, as we saw also too. Jake Wallman had enough. Wallman went after Matthew Tkachuk. Tensions were boiling over in a frustrating night for the Oilers in a game in which Florida had them where they wanted to. But could this galvanize this team? We'll see. We will definitely find out because there's a lot of hockey to be played. It's only game 3. It's not game 4. It's not game 5. It's not game 6. But you got to adjust, like I mentioned in the first segment. You got to adjust your lineups. You cannot go back into game 4 with the exact same guys you rolled out with. I did not think that you came in. I mean, we saw in practice pairings had. We saw in the practice pairings, we saw Evan Bouchard was with Darnell Nurse. Now, they didn't roll with that, but I do think you got to shelter Darnell a little bit more because Darnell has been struggling at times in the final. I felt you should have gone Nurse with Kulak, Nurse with Wallman. I just didn't think that what you had with Nurse tonight didn't work out. What they had with Nurse tonight did not work out. It was not good. Very few positives for the Oilers. And the power play sequence, the cross-ice pass just couldn't get through. Shots back to the point. Evan Bouchard's shot couldn't get through in large part. Florida collapsed to the net. We saw Florida getting bodies in front, obstructing Bouchard, not letting much onto Bobrovsky. There were so many bodies in front of Evan Bouchard. His point shots were ineffective, and they were aggressive. You saw guys in red jerseys coming out and challenging Bouchard a lot from the point, neutralizing what he can do and showing that, hey, they had the ability to stymie somewhat that effectiveness of Edmonton's power play. And again, Edmonton's PP on the road, not good again. Flashes of brilliance again they had against Dallas were gone. That power play on the road just cannot click for whatever reason. When they're not in Rogers Place, that power play gets shut down consistently in this postseason. And that's gotta be, and you gotta fix it quickly. And it's no matter what unit, power play 1 or power play 2, they have struggled badly on the man advantage. Even when they've had 5-on-4s or 5-on-3s, scoring on man advantage has been a major problem when they're not in Edmonton. That's a red flag right there for this franchise. A major, major red flag. And the thing that Chris Noble and company are going to have to sort out. They got tomorrow and they've got early on Thursday. They got tomorrow and they got tomorrow. It's 3 days. I forgot. The 3-day break. I forgot it's that 3-day gap where I'm thinking today's Tuesday for some reason. No, it's Monday. You got Tuesday. You got Wednesday. You probably got a morning skate on Thursday to clean things up so that you're not down 3-1 early. You're not chasing a game again for what felt like 50 minutes plus. So we'll see what happens there. We definitely will see what happens. And we got some post-game content here with Stuart Skinner and Evander Kane. So let's jump to first Evander Kane after the 6-1 loss. 1 second, gang. Oh. Oh, we had it. 1 second. We had it for a second. There we go. All right.
How do you explain the start and early penalties? Your team didn't quite look ready to go tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, both teams took 4 penalties in the first period. They had a 2-0 lead, and obviously not the start you want on the road.
Did they get under your skin? Did they drive you guys off your game?
No, I don't think so. I think, the game obviously got out of hand at the end there. That stuff is going to happen. I mean, you look at some of the calls and whatnot. Obviously, some of them are frustrating. They seem to get away with it more than we do.
Why are they frustrated?
They seem to get away with it more than we do. I mean, it's tough to find the line. They're doing just as much stuff as we are. It was 4-4 at the end of it, and then it gets out of hand, and there seems to be a little bit more attention in our group.
Better, does that style of play kind of suit that better? Like, do you lead it to your game a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't play very well. That's evident. We have nobody to blame but ourselves, but we can definitely be a lot better.
Evander, penalties on such a side, seem like you guys never really got to your game tonight. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think part of it is the amount of special teams. I don't know how many minutes there were 5-on-5 in the first period, even the second maybe. I'm not sure. Obviously we make it a 1-goal game. Paris makes a nice play, and then we give it right back. So that's tough, and didn't have the third period. Just it is what it is.
Things have been sailing for you guys pretty well since game 2 against LA. Is this kind of a low point, and how do you kind of recover?
Yeah, I mean, look, we could have lost 3-2 in triple overtime, and the series is 2-1. So, how you lose in the playoffs really doesn't matter as much than it might in the regular season. We have a shot to get a split here on Thursday, and that's the focus at this point.
Evander, what do you look at? I mean, penalties aside, what do you look at you need to clean up here to do what you want to do?
Well, I think we were a little disconnected, especially through the neutral zone, from our end to the neutral zone. I think if we can be a little cleaner there and have a little bit more possession, come in unison, which will create better forechecks and easier to hold on to pucks and turn pucks over in the O zone. So I think if we can do a bit better job of that, that should help our game.
Is that partially their pressure? Did it get to you guys a little bit tonight?
Yeah, I don't know if it got to us tonight. We know they pressure. We know they pinch down on the wall. I think it's just about trying to execute the right game plan against that to counteract it.
You hear a lot in the regular season about watching this type of game away. Is that harder to do in the playoffs? Is that still something that you try to do?
Look, it's losing in the playoffs, whether it's in round 1, game 1, or the Stanley Cup final. It's never a good feeling. But we've been here before. We've been down in series before, and we've had tough losses. So it'll sting right now, and we'll flush it tomorrow and get ready for Thursday.
All right, there's Evander Kane after the loss, and again, you see this team thinking about flushing it, getting ready for Thursday, as you have to do. You have no choice as a hockey team, and you see right there Evander talking about how he felt Florida got away with more things than they did, and he's right, how Edmonton never really got into the game. This game was barely played at 5-on-5. This game was essentially a continuous power play, continuous 5-on-4 sequence or 4-on-4 sequence for Edmonton or for Florida or for both teams. Very little 5-on-5 action happened in this game. It was a game chock full of somebody on the kill or the power play. An ugly game, not exactly a picture-perfect game you want to have for TNT. And again, Brad Marchand, I mentioned him earlier. Brad Marchand stepping up once again. How the Boston Bruins really felt that was it for Brad Marchand, to me, still blows my mind. The fact that the Bruins really walked away from Brad Marchand at the deadline and got back essentially peanuts, that's going to be one of the all-time bad moves of the Don Sweeney era in Boston. Bruins fans are livid. I don't blame y'all. Bruins fans should be mad that Sweeney really said, Brad, that's it. It's time. thanks for memories, but we're moving on. Because look at what he's doing in Florida. Look at what he's doing for the Panthers, being one of the more effective forwards on that roster. And we've seen him before be a big key, be a big cog in this series alone. Scoring overtime winners, opening up the scoring in this series. How Boston moved on from him. What a facepalm moment. Come on now. Come on. Bruin fans, I feel you. That was dumb. Bruin fans have every right to march down to Don Sweeney's house and demand he apologize to them. Really, no, truly, they got a case. They got a case. Anyways, with that being said, if you're enjoying the show, you love the show, right? You tapped in, you want some more, you want to follow us, right? Right? Well, make sure you hit the like button on this video. Click subscribe on our channel and make sure you hit that notification bell so when we're live next, you know. And hey, if you're tapping into our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating, or if you want, even give us a positive review. And hey, if you really love us, if you really enjoy the show, make sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. You can find the Game Over Network on Blue Sky at GameOverNetwork.com, on TikTok and Twitter at GameOverNHL, on Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn at Game Over Network. And you can find me on Twitter at Avry, at AVRY, on Instagram at Avry Sports, AVRY Sports. You can also find us at the GameOverNetwork.com. We can sign up for our upcoming newsletter. All right. Third period time as we start to wind down on Game Over Edmonton, y'all. We will tap into the post-game comments of one Mr. Stuart Skinner. So let's grab that audio. Oh, we got some Mr. Peter Klein, a long-time friend of the program, former host of Game Over Calgary. Oh, we'll get to Peter's comments in a second here for overtime. But yeah, good to see the legends of Game Over tapping into the post-game show here after Game 3 of Edmonton, Florida. Love seeing the classics. Love seeing the legends of the network tapping in. So 1 second here. Let's get to the Stu Skinner content. All right. All right. Here is Stu.
Where did things go wrong for you guys tonight?
What did go wrong?
How did things go wrong?
Well, I mean, right away I thought we ended up playing what Florida kind of wanted, just a little bit of a track meet, a little bit of, grinding, lots of penalties. I mean, it was just penalty chaos tonight. Kind of started in the first period, letting a couple goals, one on the PK again, and then obviously Marchand's. And I think they were gritty tonight.
I know you'll take a closer look in the coming days, but what's your initial feeling on your night, on the goals that beat you, and how you felt?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, some were chaotic, some were really nice shots. I got a little post lucky for them, a couple shots, but I mean, I've had my post luck too, so it goes both ways, and they made some nice shots. But I mean, as a goalie, you got to come up with a save. It doesn't matter. It's a game of inches. If I'm out, a quarter of an inch out farther on, what's his name, for Hagee's goal, then, it could be a save. Same with Reinhart. So I don't like letting, open shots in. So I take accountability on those.
So it's uncharacteristic for this team to kind of lose the composure like they did. Like, what did you make of that? And,
Yeah, I'm not too sure what I really make up of it. I think you just see that there's a lot of emotions that are going into this. We're trying to win a cup. They're trying to win a cup. So there's fight. Some guys are flaking, going down, trying to cause penalties. The other teams don't like that. So then it's just going to be a battle, right? Obviously, I mean, we're not going to go down without swinging. They didn't do it when we beat them 8-1. I mean, they were cross-checking everybody. They were fighting us. They were doing everything to get under our skin. And so, I mean, it's going to go both ways.
The first couple of games were close. This one was pretty lopsided. Is that tougher to regroup from?
It might feel like it, but I don't think it is, just because it's a series. I mean, they're up 2-1. That's all it is. It's one game. They could have beat us 12-0. It's, you know, it's the same result. It's still just 2-1. It's not like if they win by any more that they go up extra. So it might feel a little bit harder just because, you know, we weren't in the game tonight. But it doesn't change how we're going to respond.
As much as you want to forget about last game, this one will be tougher. Do you want to remember that they can hurt you if you do mistakes?
I mean, no matter who you're playing against, if you don't show up, teams are going to hurt you. You can play anybody in the NHL. It's a good league. And we know that. We've experienced it tonight. We've experienced it many times before tonight. So we know what we're going to be up against. Doesn't change how we're going to respond again. You know, we got 2 days to, you know, come back, and I think there's some things that we're going to have to change.
How was it in the room after time?
Yeah, it was a little quiet, obviously, at first, because we obviously got it handed to us. But I think after that, you know, Leo gave us some really good words of wisdom, gave us some motivation, and we know what we have to do. And we're still talking a lot, actually. Just before I came out here, there's a lot of conversations going on just on, you know, how we got to, you know, just show up better.
So how difficult was it for you to get into the game from a goaltender's perspective with all the penalties, you know,
Yeah, I mean, Bob had to do it too. It's definitely tough just because there's not a lot of flow because there's no 5-on-5. So you're watching for 2 minutes, then you're playing for 2 minutes, then you're watching for 2 minutes, playing for 2 minutes. And that was kind of the whole first period. So, yeah, it's definitely difficult. But, again, that's hockey. If I wasn't able to handle it, I shouldn't be playing.
You guys have talked about how last year's experience made you mentally tougher, mentally more prepared for this series. Do you think Game 4 is the greatest test of that?
I mean, yeah, every test from here on out is going to be the greatest test for that, you know, win or lose. So I think no matter what, we're always going to be showing our resiliency, even in wins. So I think it's another test for us, another great test for us to come back and show everybody what we can do.
A year ago in this building, Connor fairly famously said, "Bring it. Whatever you got, bring it." Are we at that moment now?
I mean, I think we were at that moment from game one, just because we know that if we don't do that, the same thing's going to happen last year. We could have gone down 3-0 pretty quickly. Obviously, we learned our lesson because we've gotten one win. This is another moment where we definitely got to look in the mirror and change a couple things and make sure that we, come back a lot harder game 4 here.
All right. All right, there's goaltender Stuart Skinner after the loss. And again, the one thing is that this Oilers team has always been very resilient in the postseason. I mean, look at this series against LA. They were down 0-2. They could have been down by a lot more, and they found a way to turn things around. And another post-game comment coming from Chris Johnston, at reporter Chris on Twitter. Connor McDavid said, "I don't think our best has shown up all series long, but it's coming." That's a quote that makes you want to jump through a brick wall. Because if Connor McDavid's saying that their best is yet to come, that, again, goes to show that, yes, they're going to flush down the toilet, but they're going to work on doing what they need to do to find a way to tie this series up at 2 games apiece and send things back to Edmonton all square. And if you can trust somebody to do that, it's Connor McDavid. Again, this series is far, far, far from over. I'm expecting a much better start for Edmonton. I'm expecting a much cleaner opening 10 minutes from the Oilers. And hey, it might be our first game of the series where there isn't a goal in the first 5 minutes of the first period. We might see a lockdown first period. Who knows? Who knows? Oh my gosh, who knows? But yeah, we got to see what happens here. But it's going to be either way. Game 4 is going to tell us a lot about these two teams. It's more so Edmonton. Game 4 is going to tell us a lot about how this is going to go. Because I've said before, this series is going to go at least 6 games. Most likely, it's going to go the distance. I have this series going to 7 games. I do. I truly do, but it's not going to be easy. I did not think for a second this was going to be over in 4 or 5 games. Edmonton winning game 2 would have been nice, but Florida's a tough team. The Panthers are here for the 3rd year in a row for a reason, even as an older team in this league. So, with that being said, you know what it's time for? You know what it's time for? Promoting Game Over merchandise, y'all. Because, hey, what better way to support something that you love than by wearing it as apparel? Hey, you may not need a toque right now. You may not need a scarf, but you may want a hat. You may want a t-shirt. Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you want to feel the nostalgic pull of our retro scare design, want to make a statement with our established design, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need another pop, a juice to get you through the winter, we got you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on stream now and take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. All right, look at all those apparel. Look at all those offerings. All right. Overtime, y'all. Your questions, your comments, your concerns, your admiration, holleration in this dancery. All right. Let's get to them. So I see first comment here. Cisco Kid. I think I said that right. Nurse is liability. Yeah, Darnell has struggled in this Cup final. And the thing is, too, in the same way how Stuart Skinner can be very Jekyll and Hyde in net, the same way goes for Darnell Nurse. At times, he hasn't looked confident with the puck. He hasn't looked like he can calm down and compose himself. He's trying to do too much again. And that's a bad sign going into a game 4. It's got to be worked out. Maybe you see him with Kulak. Maybe you see him with Wallman again. But they got to figure out Darnell Nurse going into game 4. He cannot struggle again in game 4. He cannot. He truly cannot. Journalism John, our boy John Tova from the Hockey News, my editor. John tapping in. Does any of the rough stuff in the final stages of the game help anything in terms of momentum? It feels like it made things worse for Edmonton. Yeah, that was one where it felt like momentum-wise, Florida wants Edmonton where they want them. But also I saw it as a matter of Edmonton saying, you know what? Enough's enough. We're not going to deal with the little hacks and whacks again. So maybe that brings Edmonton together. Maybe it brings them closer together. That's the one thing I could see Edmonton saying, you know what? Get out of our system now. We can move forward. But yeah, definitely that's what Florida wanted. They want Edmonton to retaliate in that manner. But if Edmonton can see it as a rallying point to say, you know what, hey, no more being pushed around, who knows? Maybe it works out, but maybe that works out. And other comments here. Let's see. I mentioned our boy, Peter Klein, Primetime Klein. Marchand is going to get paid this offseason. Oh, for sure. Brad Marchand is getting his money. Brad Marchand is getting that bag. And, you know, again, I would usually say for a guy at that age, 37 years old, be cautious. But no, Brad Marchand has delivered once again. Age is not slowing him down. He's just as good, just as pesty, just as effective as he was 10 years ago. That's amazing. It's amazing to see. Now, the big thing is, will Brad Marchand stay in Florida? Or will he go somewhere else? Heck, will he go back to Boston? That's the thing. Because I bet you a part of Brad Marchand still wants to retire as a Boston Bruin. But, I mean, I gotta think he would love to play his last game with the Boston Bruins. But does that Florida front office say, you know what? We can't let you go. What do you want? If I'm Bill Zito, I do not let Brad Marchand go. If I'm Bill Zito, I gotta find a way to keep Brad Marchand on my roster for next year. But it'll be fun to see what happens. It'll be fun because I think Brad Marchand is going to be a hot item come next offseason. In the same way, Sam Bennett will. Sam Bennett's going to get paid as well too by somebody. Somebody's going to throw the bag at Sam Bennett. I think the Maple Leafs will do it. I think next year, Sam Bennett will be in Maple Leafs blue and white come this fall. I truly do. And Brad Marchand, I think will still be a Florida Panther. I do. But you never know. Things can definitely change. And I see another comment here from Peter. Yeah, I see. You saw my YouTube recommendations, how the YouTube suggested me NPB Top 100 video. Yeah, that's the one thing is that I do like watching a lot of Japanese baseball history videos. I love the history of Asian baseball, and the history of baseball in Japan and South Korea to me is so fascinating. So I get down those rabbit holes of watching the history of NPB and KBO and the CPBL. I follow that kind of stuff. I love watching those stories on old Japanese baseball. It's fascinating stuff learning about baseball outside of North America. It's cool to see. It's very cool to see. So. And yeah, another comment here from John. I would go back to Stuart Skinner in Game 4. And that's the one thing where I do believe Chris Knobloch goes back to Stuart Skinner, but I wouldn't be shocked if he surprises us all and says, you know what, I'm going to give Calvin a shot in Game 4. More likely, he goes to Calvin. More likely, you see Pickard if they fall down to 3-1. But I do think Knobloch gives Knobloch gives Stewart a game to redeem himself. To say, hey, you know what? Shake it off. Get back in the saddle. Game 4 is yours. Now, if you lose that game, I could see it going back to Calvin. But right now, Stewart's done enough to earn a chance to redeem himself in a Game 4. Because again, we have seen Stuart Skinner bounce back constantly after a bad game. It's his MO. It really, really, really is. Anyways, thank y'all for tapping into Game Over Edmonton. We'll wrap things up here. I've talked long enough tonight. Anyways, we are back again Thursday, Edmonton, Florida, sunrise. Will I be here? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know yet. We'll know soon. But anyways, Game 4, Thursday. Get your rest, have some fun, get ready. Game 4 coming in a few days. That break is going to be fun. But anyways, until then, I'm Avery. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to spend your post-game with me. And I'm honored. Anyways, we're out. Later.